Welcome to a new edition of the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino. On this episode, we talk with serial entrepreneur, optimization consultant, and financial literacy advocate, Heidi DeCoux. She is known as the Optimizer for helping tens of thousands of entrepreneurs optimize their businesses and lives. Over 24 years, she has built 4 businesses with a 50-plus profit margin, successfully selling 3, including a 7-figure exit. A pioneer in online marketing, her latest venture, Cashflowy.ai, is an elegant AI-driven bookkeeping, client invoicing, and cash flow management software designed for small businesses that eliminates the need for a human bookkeeper. From her base in Puerto Rico, we get into it all. It's a great story. Enjoy.
All right, cool. Well, hey, Heidi, thank you so much for taking a minute out for the show today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So before we get into your good work, I want to know first and foremost, you know, surviving this pandemic was quite a thing, and it created so much of a shift in all of us. How much of surviving and living through that time period do you still feel today in this new year?
Yeah, in some ways the pandemic feels a long time ago, and in some ways it feels like a short time ago. I mean, it shifted a lot, right? And we're still, we're experiencing, and I think we'll continue to experience the shifts, both positive and negative, in, business and our personal lives. In a big way, I do think it sped a lot of things up. Like, it's slowed things down temporarily, but we've actually sped up. I've seen more people than ever really take stock of their life and what they really want to be doing, what lights them up, and making huge career changes. We saw the divorce rate spike. I was included in that statistic, which, for, I think myself and many that I've talked to, it was a very good thing, right? And so, I think that people really used it as an opportunity to say, what do I really, really want to be doing, and are moving towards that or have moved into that.
So talk to me a little bit about, if I put you in front of a bunch of third graders at Career Day, because there's so much that goes into what you do on paper, and you had to boil down what you do on a daily basis for a living. One of the kids says, hey, what do you do for a living? How do you answer them?
I have a software, a computer program that makes life significantly easier for people who are running a small business.
So what did you want to be when you were in the third grade? What was your dream?
I actually wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I used to, as soon as I learned that word, which was probably around 3rd or 4th grade, I would just tell everybody that that's what I wanted to do. My blue-collar union worker parents, who, were at the same jobs for 40 plus years before they retired, really wanted me to join the military, and didn't understand where this entrepreneur kid who was, selling friendship bracelets and stuff and, by 3rd grade came from and what was going to happen with her. But, and it worked out.
So talk to me a little bit about, take me back to where you were born and raised, and exactly how these seeds were planted into you that grew into this career that you have today.
I was born and raised in small town Minnesota. My parents were very the norm there. It was a blue collar, union worker small town. That's what most people did there. And that's my upbringing. I'm never really fit that mold at all. Like, I'm a big city girl. I hate the cold. I love working for myself. I have for the majority of my career. So I kind of broke out of that mold pretty young and pretty quick. But that's where I come from.
So who's been a hero for you? Who's been kind of that inspiration, that fuel for your career?
So I grew up watching Oprah. When I was a kid, it was, kind of the height of her show, right? It was the 90s. And she was talking about all these topics that many of which, I had never heard the topic or the conversation, and having, interviewing really interesting people with interesting lives and with all different viewpoints. And I liked seeing that and hearing all these different viewpoints and just like assessing this like new information. And she, was just a bright light of a human being and very positive. And, she was building an empire. So I saw a woman, building an empire, and, she would do some of the behind the scenes stuff, although back then that was less of a thing than it is now. And I loved seeing that, the behind the scenes of this show and this empire and who she was. And so she was one of the big inspirations for me.
So talk to me a little bit about, in the world of entrepreneurs and those that are making a lot of waves in the business world, is there a business or a model out there that you admire that maybe you would like to meet that entrepreneur that would ultimately benefit you and in your path?
There's several people that I follow. I like following a wide variety of people so that I can get different perspectives. So, I run a tech startup. We've got a bookkeeping AI software for solopreneurs. And so there are a bunch of people in tech and AI, something I'm very passionate about, that I follow. But then there's people on other ends of the spectrum, right? And I like to kind of always have a wide variety of people that I'm listening to and picking up from. I think that you can sometimes learn more outside of your industry than inside of your industry, because there's people doing things outside of your industry that, when applied in a way that within your industry, can actually be more effective because you're doing something different, right? You're not just like following what everyone else is doing. And I've been able to draw a lot of inspiration outside of my industry.
So talk to me a little bit about how you balance this, being a busy professional and taking care of your clients, doing the best that you can, but also evolve as a human being yourself. What gets you up out of bed? What motivates you to do all of those things collectively?
So I believe in people chasing their dreams. I've been through all my business. I've built 4 companies, sold 3 of them. All of them served the small business owner, the solopreneur, like the coaches and the consultants, freelancers, practitioners, et cetera. So I know that target market well. They are the backbone of our economy. They have the least amount of tools available to them. They have the least amount of resources to spend to solve problems. And so I've always loved finding solutions for them, which is why I birthed my latest adventure that completely solves all their bookkeeping, all their tax problems for a fraction of the price. And they, and it does it just quickly and easily. Like, it's actually enjoyable, and they always know their numbers. They can make smarter decisions in their life. And so that they can actually live a life that they want. They can spend more time doing the work that they love, serving more clients, therefore make more money, therefore live a more abundant life. And within that, we do also do a lot of financial education on how they can help the profit leaks in their business, how they can get more clients, how they can leverage that. And this year we're going to be, we're in beta right now. We actually go to market January 25th, which is exciting. And then later this year, we're going to add on a personal finance platform so that they can manage all their personal finances and grow their net worth and be able to make really smart decisions in their personal finances, just like we help them do in their business finances. And then my volunteer work, which is tangentially related, I'm a financial literacy advocate, and I run a nonprofit that delivers deep financial literacy to teens. Because my belief is, if you know how money works, how to make money no matter where you are on the planet and no matter what you're up to and what chapter of life you're in, you can always make money, and you know what to do with that money, how to protect it, save it, spend it. If you've got that, And then we actually mix in mental health, mental and emotional well-being. So simple techniques to help deal with anxiety, help them just care for their mental and emotional well-being, help them sleep better at night. Because my belief is if you understand money and are deeply financially literate and you know how to care for your mental and emotional well-being, you can go out and live your best life. Every different chapter of your life can be great because you've got these two critical skills that I think are more important than pretty much anything else that you're learning in school outside of, obviously, you have to learn how to read, you have to learn some basic math, but outside of the basics, I think that those two things are actually the most important. And so I do that in my volunteer work and I do that in my, day work.
So, the one thing about being an entrepreneur is that there's a lot of risk that goes into it. So when you look at the arc of your career, what do you think is the biggest risk that you've ever taken?
I mean, I've taken a lot of risks over the years. Definitely a risk taker. You don't become a serial entrepreneur without having a pretty healthy appetite for risk. So to my parents' chagrin, I mean, they finally just stopped worrying about me at some point where they're like, it seems to all work out somehow for her. She pays her bills. I guess we're just going to put some years back on our life and stop worrying. But so I do have a pretty healthy risk appetite. And the biggest risk, I don't know if I can nail down like a single biggest risk, but some big risks that I've taken, the bigger the risk was earlier on, because as you become more well established, you generally don't have to take as big of risk because you have more money behind you, because you're more established, you have a bigger network, you have more skills, you have more knowledge, you just have more going for you, and so you can assess things better. You've got just a bigger foundation, and so the risk is less. When you're young, I actually think young people, and one of the things that we do in my nonprofit program, which is called Financial Titans, it's the free program for teens, we teach them how to start a business, and we teach them about risk. I think that people in their teens and 20s should be that's when you should take significant risks, because you can afford to. Before you have, kids and a mortgage and a car payment and, kind of all of these different things, you can afford to take a lot of risks. And if your worst case scenario is you live on your friend's couch for a while and, eat cheap food while you wait tables at night and get back on your feet, I mean, it's a very low, right? It's fine. Like that, it's totally fine. And so take those big swings when you're young and you can afford to do that. And I fortunately did that, and it did lay the foundation for the success that I have now, in my 40s.
So let me ask you this. If you had a dream tonight and you ran into a much younger version of you, say 18-year-old version of you, and you could give that younger version of you a piece of advice based on this life you've led, the wisdom you've accumulated over the years, what advice would you impart on that young version of you?
Everything is figure-outable. You will figure it all out. Action is more important than, you're never going to figure everything out in your head. You have to get into action, and then you'll learn as you go, and then you'll course correct, and then you'll learn more, and then you'll course correct, and then you'll learn more, and then you'll course correct. Don't just sit and try to think it all through, because you'll never do it. You'll never figure it all out in your head. You have to get into action and just trust and know that everything is figure outable. And if you're hitting a brick wall and then hitting a brick wall, you probably need to go under, around, or over. You need to switch directions. You're not aligned. So there's a difference between some grit and tenacity and consistency, which you absolutely need all of those things to make it. Consistency, some grit, some tenacity. But there's a difference between that and you're actually just not aligned right now, which is why it is so incredibly hard, and you're just hitting this brick wall and you're hitting this wall and hitting this wall. So you need to be able to differentiate the two, when you just need a little more tenacity and a little more follow through, or when you actually need to be course correcting. There's a different path that's better.
So talk to me a little bit about everything that you've done and accomplished in your career. What are you ultimately the proudest of?
I'm probably the proudest of this latest adventure. I'm, a tech entrepreneur for the first time. I've been dreaming about launching a software company for several years now. All my businesses before were in the online marketing space. And all of my other businesses, I bootstrapped. This, building software is expensive, so you have to raise money to do that. And so I got way outside my comfort zone on this one and raised money and partnered up with somebody who has built award-winning AI tech. And we, are doing the thing. And even though we're still in beta, the version that we have right now is actually past our MVP. We're actually in what we slotted for our 1.5, and we're not even to market yet. We have over 100 beta users, are getting fantastic feedback. It's a resource that is going to change the game for solopreneurs. It's going to make managing all their money easier than they ever thought possible, easier and less expensive, and make them feel really, really smart about their numbers and their business. And then we're going to do that same thing for their personal finances. And so we're really, really going to financially empower millions of people. And it feels good. I'm really proud of what we built, and we did it on a shoestring budget in comparison. We did a small round in comparison to companies that are in our league, raised millions and millions. And in less time, we delivered a superior product to dozens of other tech companies in our category that built, they didn't build exactly what we built, but for the type of software that they built for their particular audience. When you're comparing them. And so being that this was my first run at it, I'm really proud that, we pulled it off.
So at the end of the day, Heidi, everyone has this perception of you, family, friends, clients, colleagues, everyone around you, that you're in control, you're running the show. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
I have never really thought about that. I'm just like a get it done all day, like just dive in, roll up my sleeves, get it done. So let's see, what is my perception of myself? I think that I am, although kind of a badass that gets it done, I am also quite warm, warm and friendly. And so not a shark, like I'm sharp and a recovering workaholic, but also have, just like a warm side. And a big heart. I care about the world. I want to see our world get better and better. I want to lift people up. It's why I do the nonprofit work that I do. It's why that I'm building the tech company that I'm building. It's to deliver a super valuable product that makes people's lives better. I'm an optimizer. I love optimizing everything. My friends actually call me the optimizer because when we go anywhere, I'm like, we could be out to dinner and I'm like, optimize, like they should do this and this because it would be a better experience for everyone and their employees would have an easier time. And, I'm just always looking for ways to optimize the world. So the joke with my friends is that, if only Heidi could be the benevolent dictator of planet Earth, she would just optimize everything and we'd all live a happy life. And that's definitely a fantasy.
So let me ask you this. What's the best thing about living in Puerto Rico?
The weather.
Yeah.
I love, it's like 82 to 84 degrees pretty much year round. I'm a big fan, having grown up in Minnesota. If I never see snow and ice again, I'm totally good with that.
That's awesome. So if anyone wants to reach out, learn more about what you're doing, delve in, what's the best way to do that?
Yeah, my company is Cashflowy.ai, and that's just cash and then SLOWY, Cashflowy.ai. And you can find Cashflowy.ai on all the social media platforms as well. And then you're welcome to link to just my personal site, which is HeidiDeCoux.com.
Excellent. Heidi, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your story. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful 2025.
You too.
Thanks for tuning in to another famous interview with Joe Dimino, where we cover the world of art, literature, business, spirituality, music, and more from around the globe. Our esteemed theme music was composed and produced by the great E.E. Pointer of Kansas City's River Cow Orchestra. If you want to hear more interviews, visit the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino channel on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.